From the TV30 studio, here's Jim Schneider.
Well, good evening and welcome to inFocus. We're so glad you've joined us tonight as we are going to be focusing in on our election day here coming up on Tuesday, April 7th. And friends, April is here. It's just around the corner, and election day next week, Tuesday. I want to remind you that early voting is already underway. People are going to the polls now, casting votes to be sure that your vote is counted here for the April 7th election. And this is an election where the issues vary depending upon where you live. I mean, some are voting on mayors, some are voting on judges, some are voting school board seats, circuit court judges. The list goes on and on depending upon where you live. A little while, we'll be telling you about a state website you can go to find out what's on your ballot. So be prepared to write down that web information so you can find out where your polling place is, what the issues are in your particular ballot as well. There's just one statewide race on the ballot. That is for Supreme Court Justice. We will be having much more on that next week on the program here inFocus. But tonight, we're going to be hearing from three different candidates. One who is running for the Menominee Falls School Board, one running for the Elm Grove School Board, and then also we're going to be talking to an individual who is running for the mayor's position in the city of Franklin. So trust you'll be able to stay with us for the full program tonight. And we're going to begin in Menominee Falls. Dr. Joel Woppert is with us tonight, currently a member of the Menominee Falls School Board and running for re-election. Joel, good to have you here.
Well, thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
So one of the first things that we'd like to do certainly is to have the candidate introduce themselves to our viewers, because there are likely people watching right now that said, I have no idea who it is that's running for school board. So just familiarize yourself with our viewers tonight, a little bit about your background, both personally as well as professionally.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. So I am the only incumbent running for Menominee Falls School Board right now. I was elected back in April of 2023, so seeking my second term here. Been a resident of Menominee Falls for 13 years. Highly active in the Little League programs. I serve on the board for the Menominee Falls Junior Phoenix program. I coaching, and I've been doing all that for many years. Professionally, I'm a director of IT, so I work for local government here in West Bend, Wisconsin. So it's been a great adventure, and I look forward to hopefully three more years.
You're right, and you've served on for one term already on the school board. It is a 3-year term that is being sought. What would you say is your biggest accomplishment during that first term?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of good stuff that has happened in the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. Fiscally, balanced budgets all 3 years. We're projected to have another balanced budget for the next school year, which is important for taxpayers. Academics are amazing right now. Our high school is ranked 9th out of 361 high schools from DPI reports in academic growth and performance. So really doing really good things there academically, and we're just excelling. That's good. The students are learning, and if you ever go to a football game in Menominee Falls, there's a lot of good activity from the community. I mean, the community shows up. It's a really great place, and I think we've created a great environment for the community and faculty and the students. Student reports from the surveys, students are happy to be there.
So you've been on the board for 3 years.
Correct.
And tell us why you're seeking re-election.
Yeah, I have a passion for our children, for our youth. I think the biggest thing is I want to keep pushing the needle forward. We've made some good leaps and bounds academically, coming out of COVID when academics were low. I want to keep pushing that forward, and giving our staff and our teachers the support they need to help the students.
Sure.
And make sure that they're learning. School safety has been a huge concern of mine. I mean, you see everything that's going on national television.
Right.
And part of the school safety that I've had a part of contributing to is we added a third resource officer to our schools. We've done engagements with Freighter Hospital and the fire departments, and simulating an active shooter. So we've done some really good safety steps, and I want to keep pushing that forward so our students in our community feel safe.
So how would you describe the greatest challenges or the greatest issues right now facing Milwaukee or the Menominee Falls School District?
Yeah, it's one challenge I think is actually facing all school districts right now is the funding. I'm sure everyone knows who's been paying attention to schools that special education funding was not given the money that they were promised in the beginning. For example, we in Menominee Falls, we have a deficit, not a deficit, sorry, but from our budget, we were promised I think we budgeted 42% for special education reimbursement, and it ended up coming in at like 35%. We budgeted conservatively at 38%, but that leaves a big gap in funds that we're receiving, and that's impacting schools all over. Lucky for us, we're not in a situation where we're at a referendum right now, but the funding, and then on top of that, the way the revenue formula works, it's based on per pupil. So Menominee Falls right now is in a decline of student enrollment, so that kind of works against us as well.
What's causing that? Is it people just fed up with the education system, or is it such that the family sizes are different today?
Family sizes are a lot different today. If you look at the households, 20 years ago, we were looking at some of the stats, people were having 5, 6, 7 kids. And now, one and sometimes none. In fact, when I go to a lot of the homes, knocking on doors, talking to people, they don't even have kids. I hear that a lot.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, because you have heard this at the door. We don't have kids, so therefore, there's not as concerned. Why should a family that does not have children in the Menominee Falls School District, why should they care who gets on the school board?
Sure, there's actually a number of reasons why they should care. The students that are at our schools, they're going to go out into our community. They're going to be future leaders in our community. They're going to, while they're in school, a lot of them work at restaurants. They're going to take care of us. A lot of them are providing services for us. You want someone who has respect for us. We want someone who has etiquette. So the school provides that. We want to lead our kids into become good citizens of our community and good stewards of what we have in the Menominee Falls. And the other thing is taxes. A lot of the taxes that are on the local property tax are influenced by the school. So that's a big point that we've been trying to push to neighbors and just let them know that everything that happens in the school district has an impact on them in some way, shape, or form.
When we talk about Menominee Falls School District, how many schools are in the district? What is the enrollment?
Sure, we're at about 3,700 students right now. It's comprised of 4 elementary schools. So 2 elementary schools are K through 2nd grade right now, and then the other elementary schools are two elementary schools are 3rd through 5th grade. Then we have 1 middle school, which is 6th through 8th grade, and then we have the high school, 9th through 12th.
You no doubt are aware of the Trump administration's move to dismantle Department of Education. Give us your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think President Trump's looking at making the government efficient, right? I think a lot of the Department of Education, that affects things on a national level, but we still have a lot of control at the local level, and I think that's very important to focus on. And that's why this election is important too, because there is a lot of control on the local side. We get a little bit of aid from the federal government, but most of our aid comes from the state of Wisconsin, and then if anything above the revenue formula comes from our community itself.
Do you feel the heavy hand of government coming down on mandates for your school?
Oh, all the time. It's crazy. When administrations change, different things change. Title IX was a big one, for example. During the Biden administration, it was going one way, and now it's been another way. So it keeps us always on our toes, for sure.
And we're going to talk about that in just a moment here. But friends, you're watching inFocus here, and tonight we're going to be having 3 different candidates, 3 different offices and jurisdictions, so to speak. And trust you'll stay with us. Dr. Joel Wappert with us right now, who is running for Menominee Falls School District, a board position there. There's been a huge controversy, as you know, between on this Title IX issue, biological boys playing in girls' sports. That's primarily the issue there, but also having access to their locker rooms, showers, restrooms, etc. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, we had this. It's funny. We had this question at our forum a couple weeks ago, and it absolutely not. I don't think boys should be in girls' locker rooms, and that's my personal view and opinion on that. And Trump did sign that executive order. Talking about the male and female sports. WIAA has made that stance too. That following the executive order that biological males are not to play in biological female sports. And I think that protects the integrity of women's sports. I mean, I take a look at why sports ban all these steroids. It's performance enhancements. That's to protect the other athletes. And that's the same kind of goes for male and female sports. Males are built differently, and it would be like having someone on steroids playing against you. And totally agree on protecting the integrity of women's sports.
So suppose that executive order gets reversed. Another Joe Biden president comes in and wants it to see the other way.
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge, right? I mean, I'm sure there will be lots of lawsuits throughout the United States.
Right.
There'll be a lot of people pushing back on that executive order, as we've seen throughout the years. And it just makes it harder for us at the local school board, respecting the community's values. It would present a big challenge for us.
There is another issue that's going on right now in Wisconsin. It's in the courts on whether or not Act 10 is going to be repealed and the impact that is going to have upon local government. It's going to have an impact upon school boards as well. What is your position on the repeal of Act 10?
Yeah, I think when people talk about Act 10, my question is, well, where's the money going to come from, right? I mean, something needed to be done with Act 10, and Governor Walker at that time knew and seen that this was not sustainable to all these different benefits and all the pay and everything. I mean, if we would repeal Act 10, everyone's pretty much have to go to a referendum. I mean, someone's going to have to pay for this bill that would be out there for not only teachers union, but at our other local governments too, police departments and all that. I mean, we have to really consider that before making that decision.
Yeah, and it's going to impact every level of the government if
100%.
That is repealed in that regard. So one of the challenges many districts face is having strong fiscal responsibility, keeping the budget under control, and how do you do that without dramatic increases to the tax base? What is the plan? You got declining enrollment, you're getting less funding from the state. What's the solution to this? Yeah,
I think it requires a lot of thinking outside the box, right? Using data to drive, the money and the resources where it really focuses on the educational aspect, and then putting other needs to the side, right? Whether it's building stuff, for buildings, or some of our buildings are getting old in Menominee Falls, but some of the items on that list, putting those off to the side until they become a problem, which, I hate to do that as well, because it just puts a problem down the road. But it's really about budgeting and prioritizing where that money is. Maybe it means lessening some of the administrative staff. We've done that in the last 3 years, where we've got rid of some of the administrative positions to have more student-focused positions in there, teachers and aides. And that would be a continuous a battle of seeing what we can do, where's the money makes sense to put. And that's making that decision. It's going to be tough decisions that have to be made sometimes, whether it's class sizes and administration and whatever it may be.
Consolidation, maybe?
Consolidation, absolutely.
Sure. Your name is showing up on Science throughout Menominee Falls right now, but it's not alone there. There's also candidates Nicole Barker and Jefferson Davis. Would you say you have similar ideals with these other two candidates? Why are we seeing 3 names on these signs?
Yeah, so I've been able to get to know Jefferson Davis and Nicole Barker really well. We both have the same Christian foundation in our lives. We both all three of us, all three of us agree on the same principal issues, protecting the school, being fiscally responsible, making sure students are first, keeping some of the political mess out of the schools, the ideologies that do not need to be there. We all agree on those same things. And granted, we're all running as individuals, but I will go out there and I'll help support them. When I'm doing doors and talking to people, I'll bring up their names and let them know that, hey, these are the people that are aligned with some of my ideologies and some of my thoughts and where we view different opinions on stuff. And
contrast that with the other opponents.
Yeah, the other opponents, they're doing the same thing. They won't come out and say it, but they're doing the same thing. And they always hide behind a nonpartisan title, right? They always, the school, we're nonpartisan, and we know where they're getting funded from. I mean, we've seen their financial reports from the Democrats of Madison, and but yeah, they're in the same boat. They're doing the exact same thing that Jefferson, Nicole, and I are doing. They're promoting each other. When you go to they have individual signs, but all 3 signs are out there talking to each other about each other. They're doing the exact same things we're doing.
I noticed, I was looking through different endorsements coming from the teachers union, WEAC. Your name was not there. Why is that?
Yeah, we went to a teachers union forum with the teachers union. I thought I did a good job, and the teachers union thought the other 3 candidates, Steve, Becky, and Emily, they thought they were their best candidates for them. And I think it comes down to politics. You'll hear the other 3 candidates talk about, we're going to support the teachers. And what they're really saying behind the scenes is that we're going to get you funded. We're going to give you the money. And, if we have to go to referendum to pay operations, we're going to do that. That's what they're really saying. Where I'm saying is, hey, we're going to make sure we take care of teachers. It may not be at the highest amount. We may not get you the raise that you're looking for, but we're going to take care of you. So that's a big difference between the candidates.
Joel, if our viewers had to remember one thing about you and your candidacy, what do you want them to know? What's the takeaway you want them to have tonight? Yeah,
I think the one thing that people should know about me is no one will outwork me. I will do my best for this school. I have one child remaining in the school, and I want all children to be successful. I want these students to come out of high school ready for the real world. And I will do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. I will always have the students' best interest at the back of my heart.
Would you consider that your priority going into another term?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always about the students, in our community. It's making sure that they are getting what they need and preparing them for the future.
Great. And for those who would like to learn more about your candidacy, your values, everything else, how can they do that?
Sure. I'm on Facebook. So Facebook is one avenue. It's Dr. Joel Wappert, Menominee Falls School Board Treasurer, I believe, is on Facebook. They can also reach out to me on the web, votewappert.com. My last name, WOPPERT. On there, they can connect with me. There's an online form. If they have questions, they can email me. And they can also do votewappert@gmail.com, and they can email me directly.
Great.
And I can get them whatever information they'd like.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming here tonight.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
And friends, Dr. Joel Wappert with us here this evening on inFocus and running for the school board of Menominee Falls. And just a reminder that Tuesday is the upcoming election. Early voting is taking place right now. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with yet another candidate here tonight on inFocus. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back.
Wisconsin's spring election is Tuesday, April 7th, and early voting is now underway. The spring election includes municipal races which vary from city to city. There's just one statewide race on the ballot, a 10-year term to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The 2 candidates include former Planned Parenthood political director, now Judge Chris Taylor, who was first appointed to the Dane County Circuit Court by Governor Evers, then ran unopposed to the Court of Appeals. The other is Judge Maria Lazar, a member of the 2nd District Court of Appeals, was an Assistant Attorney General under former Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen, and while there defended voter ID and Act 10. To find out what's on your ballot, visit myvote.wi.gov and click on What's on My Ballot. That's myvote.wi.gov. On Election Day, polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Nonpartisan candidate information can be found at ivoterguide.com. VCY encourages you to be informed and vote prayerfully.
Well, welcome back here to inFocus tonight as we're focusing in on our April election. And just a reminder, Tuesday is Election Day, but early voting is now underway here across the state of Wisconsin. And tonight's forum is just to help you be introduced to some of the candidates that are running. I mistakenly said Elm Grove earlier, but we want to welcome now a candidate for the Elm Brook School District, and that is Sam Hughes, running for re-election in the at-large position. And Sam, good to have you with us here tonight.
Thank you, Jim. It's an honor to be here. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to come and talk with the community and be a part of this time together with you.
Great. Well, one of the big issues that people have in considering their vote is lack of information about candidates and who they are, what their values are, where they stand. So let's start off, if you would, Sam, just by giving some background about yourself, both personally and professionally as well.
Yeah, no, great. So I'm an engineer by training. I've been married for 24 years with 3 daughters and wonderful children. And so I've done a lot of different things in life. I used to work for a utility company. I was in the union for a period of time. I now run a small business that with about 15 people that we take care of on a day-to-day basis, and service business, and it's been a joy doing that. That's my professional background. What brought me onto the school board was just my background of being a good decision maker. When you run a business, and I've run large organizations as well, I know how to make good decisions. And I find that is a hard thing to find in a lot of school board candidates. People get elected because they're popular versus getting elected that they know how to make good decisions and they're not easily controlled. So that's been important to me. You have been involved in mentoring young men. Why is that important to you? Well, you know what? I think that's so important to give back to the community. And I grew up in a divorced family, and I knew what it was like to not live with my dad. And you know, I've been so richly blessed what I have in my life now, and it just gives me the opportunity to share that with others and be a part of that. So I look for those opportunities. I run a men's Bible study as well, so that's important to me as well. So therefore, as in your mentoring, you're helping others learn how to make good decisions for life then as well. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Great. What do you see as being the main responsibility of a school board member? Yeah, the main responsibility is to be well educated on what the decision's about and to make that decision and be very transparent about it. I think just far too often, you know, people go on the board and they just think it's a status position versus something that takes a lot of work. And you have a lot of responsibility of people in the community that expect you to deliver on great schools, and you can't just go in unprepared. You have to go in extremely prepared and be able to make those good decisions. There are some significant facility issues going on right now within the Elm Brook School District, projects for the district, and I saw the Chief Strategy Officer, Chris Thompson, said that the district will be able to cover some projects through the operations budget, but they've identified about $100 million in projects that we're going to need additional resources from somewhere, somehow for this. There's even talk of a referendum. Give us your perspective, some background to what's going on here, and what is the path forward? Yeah, you know, I look at it this way, Jim. I think far often is schools have spent every dollar they get in, and they haven't done a great job at planning. It takes years and years of being prepared to make those multi-million-dollar decisions and putting a little bit of money away. Elm Brook does a great job overall. There's about $17 to $30 million, $17 million in the capital budget set aside just strictly for capital projects. But there is a lot to be done. So we have one school that was built in the 1960s under the open concept. Having a bunch of young elementary kids in an open concept school isn't great. I think that is one school that in Elm Grove that needs to be done to it. I think there's some real costs there, and there's some ADA stuff that we need to get done at our other middle school. I think that's reasonable. I think a lot of the other work, though, it's more of a nicety versus something that's really needed. Sure. And I've been really open about that. I'm not fully supportive of a $100 million referendum. I think that's just too much burden on the taxpayers. I think we can figure out how to make it work. I mean, we're the #1 school our size in the entire state of Wisconsin. We do exceptionally well. Our grades are very, very high. The kids are performing. It's not that spending more money is going to help them get better grades. It's going to be about having great teachers, having great staff, having great administration. And I think we can do a lot of that without having to go to the taxpayers for that type of a referendum. And you are well aware as well of Act 10 and the efforts that are there to lawsuit to repeal Act 10. The court at one time has turned this away. The Wisconsin Supreme Court, it looks like it may be a matter that's going before them once again. How will that impact school districts like yours? it would be a devastating impact. You're going to see, I mean, the amount of money that has been saved under Act 10 has been in the billions. And that, well, if that gets reversed, all that is going to fall back onto the local taxpayer. So I think you're going to see a major problem with that. And if the funding doesn't change in the local schools, then you're going to see some teachers having to be let go. We're going to have to probably increase class sizes as well. That's going to be a big detriment to that. You're definitely going to be pulling back on a lot of the referendum work or the building work that has to be done. So I think you would see a pretty substantial hurt across all the schools in the entire state.
Give us an indication as to the size and scope of your school district.
Yeah, there's about 7,800 students there, and we're beginning to just have some decline in the enrollment, but for the past 4 years we've been increasing enrollment overall, and that was primarily because before my time they pushed through a 4K program, so half day on that helped the enrollment numbers go up on that. And we've got 2 high schools and 2 middle schools and 5 elementary and 1 special needs school that my heart, I'm near and dear to that. I have a daughter with special needs.
Okay, and so therefore you have had no doubt challenges with special needs funding coming as well.
Yes, yeah, as Dr. Joel said earlier, yeah, you know, it's an unfunded mandate from the state. And right now the funding, it was a mandate that was pushed to provide the services, which is important. And right now I think, like Dr. Joel said, it was about 35% was funded. So we have about $25 million that we pay out of our own pocket each year to cover the special needs services that the students need.
Sam Hughes with us here tonight, running for school board seat, and you have raised an issue with the start time for middle school in the district. Tell us your concern.
Yeah, I think the big concern with that is there's some really good need for that. I think the elementary or the middle school start time is around 7:18 right now, which is early, which means kids are getting on the bus 6:30, 6:45 at the beginning of the day, which means they're getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we did find a solution that we can change the middle school and the high school, flip them around, have the high school start a little bit earlier, and then move that start time back. And we could do that with being budget neutral. That's been, I think, makes a lot of reasonable sense, and it won't affect the private schools. That's been a big thing that some of the board members on our board have been showing a lot of interest in voting against that and making the private school families who pay taxes as well for them not to have the same bus service that they have today. So they're saying, well, then they can get to school at 7:15 and then wait around till their school starts at 8 o'clock, and then they have to get picked up early and pull them out of school early. So that is getting some push. That's why this election is so important, is that we find the right candidates that believe everyone has, the right to a school and the right for transportation to the schools as well.
So if that start time is changed, is that going to require other students to start earlier?
If we go with one option, it would definitely require the private schools to start earlier. Okay. And then if we go with the more expensive option that some of the people are pushing now, it would basically push back all the start times for the high school and the middle school and keep elementary the same.
You have also raised some concerns about the technology use in some of the elementary school students and as negatively impacting their academic performance. Share your concern.
Yeah, so there's the study that's come out is that especially the younger kids, that every minute they spend in front of an electronic device, it affects their brain matter, and it makes them not remember as much and not as sharp. So we believe that, and one of my daughters has gone to private school, and that school that's in the district as well, they have practically no technology all the way through through even most of middle school. And there's not a need to have a day-to-day basis, and so I've been really wanting to push, and I haven't had the support right now in our current board makeup, but I've really been wanting to push to eliminate all unnecessary technology on K through 5. It's not needed, and I think that it's a damper to them. And I think also there's some room that we can make some cell phones are a big distraction. I think even in the high school. So I think there's some things that we can do to help minimize that or eliminate that as a distraction for students so they can improve their grades. And other districts have found that when you do that, the kids perform better. And I think those are some small things that we can do to see our grades go up. And
there are a lot of school districts that are making that decision right now.
Yes.
How would you say, if that vote were happening today in your school board, would it be something that would curtail the use of students and having access to their cell phones during school hours?
Yeah, I think it would definitely curtail, and I think we would see, I heard the first year is painful. People have been used to it and they want that after that. But then after that, year 2 and year 3 become easier and easier. And I think it would really benefit all the students in the entire district.
Again, and some of the questions are similar to what we heard in the last segment, because you're also running for school board here, and we've seen the Trump administration, pushing against the federalizing of education in U.S. Department of Education, trying to give more local control. It's something you support?
Yeah,
or take issue with?
No, I definitely local control. I mean, I'm so thankful that the Department of Education is being removed. There's no benefit to us locally. All of our educational material, the standards are set by the state. I think that's great, and then we get to implement it locally. And so there's no benefit at all to the Department of Education to the K through 12 program at all. So that's a great thing. There's a lot of money that's wasted there, and I would love to see that money go back to the students and not be wasted in bureaucracy, which is I think what we're seeing now at the Department of Education.
School districts all across this country are being impacted by Title IX related issues as well. And we've seen just kind of a flip-flop going back and forth between administrations and how that's implemented. In controversy, should biological boys who identify as girls be able to be participating in girls' sports, use their locker rooms, showers, school field trips, overnight field trips, etc.? What is your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, boys are boys and girls are girls, and they're born that way, and we play that way. And so I am so thankful that right now that's not happening in our school. I do think that if the right board members aren't elected, well, I'm afraid that things could change, where that could become more of an option. But right now, I'm such a fierce fighter, and I get the word out in the community that there's not going to be any traction there if that were to come. So, no, 100% support that. I'm really thankful that is being taken care of by the Trump administration.
Do you support the right of parents to inspect classroom materials, know what's going on in the classroom?
Absolutely. I'm a big parental fights. In fact, when I ran my first year, it was about parental rights. I thought that was critical. Parents need to know what's going on and what the kids are being taught.
Do they?
Absolutely, they do. And I think that's important and I encourage parents to get involved. I approve curriculum, and I look, to my knowledge, I'm one of the only board members that looks through the books to make sure what we're teaching them is sound and solid. I look through the curriculum materials. I make sure everything is solid as we possibly can be. There's still some room in the classrooms, of course, that that teachers have some flexibility. But no, we definitely want that taken care of.
So, are you concerned about the direction of curriculum?
I'm concerned to where it could go. Yeah, I'm very aware that if you don't have the right people in place, that there's creep. And I think we saw that. I think that Elmbrook hired, before my time, they hired someone to come in and implement DEI. And it was a detriment to the entire school, and it affected a lot of people negatively. So, yeah, if you don't stay on top of it, you don't elect good school board members, that will definitely be a creep.
What would you say best distinguishes you from your opponent for this race?
Yeah, I mean, I have incredible business experience. I know how to make good decisions. I've been doing this for 3 years. I am super transparent. In fact, at the last school board meeting, the other 5 people on the board that tend to be a little bit more on the left of me, all voted to approve a survey that was misleading. And I said, I will not stand by that survey for the referendum to be put out there, because it's not honest, it's not transparent. And my opponent got up and publicly spoke and said, I support this survey 100% the way it is. Let's get this sent out there. So I'm different in that area. I'm not someone that can be bought. I'm a very independent thinker. That's my drive. I think when I make good decisions every single day, I'm going to make them on the board as well. Great.
And so if voters bring you back to the school board for this next term, what would you say is your primary focus, your number one priorities?
Number one priority is going to be dealing with technology. That's something we've made really clear in our campaign. I'm running with 2 other guys that share those values with me. That's going to be one of the most important things. And then finding ways that we can improve our budget. We've been increased funding over the years, but we haven't been putting away as much as we need to be. So I'd like to do that, and I'd like to figure out ways that we can be more efficient on how we manage our money and how we get it out. How we spend it every day is a big thing as well. So, and then the third thing is just really staying focused on academics. I think we can make some headway on that. We can improve some of the way that the math is coming up for curriculum review this year. So that'll be important that we are on top of that and only provide good math curriculum for our students as well.
Great. And as it relates to the school district itself, we know that there is push and pull that's going on, and parental involvement sometimes waxes and wanes. What is your solution to getting parents further invested in what's happening within the schools?
Yeah, that's so important, especially like what Dr. Joel said earlier. A lot of people that don't have kids in the district thinks it's not as important to be involved. So I've made an effort to try to get out as much community involvement as possible and letting parents know what's going on. I send out as about a monthly email, so that lets people that are signed up to my list to know what's going on. So I give them kind of a heads up on that, and just highly encourage parents to know, what are your kids being taught? How are they being taught? And does it follow your values? If not, say something. You have every right to say something, and you should say something to speak up. I know a lot of people fear retaliation. I know that that's a real concern. A lot of people will email me privately, or they'll call me, or they'll pull me aside when I'm out in public and tell me things because they're afraid that they're going to get retribution for that. So, but I always believe if you do the right thing, God will honor that, and I just encourage parents to do that as well.
So again, address the person watching right now, has no children in the district. Why should they be invested in this race? Why should they care?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Be invested because it matters. As the schools go, there goes a community. You're paying taxes. We definitely care about education. It's extremely important that everyone in the community has a strong free education, and that's our right that we're given as citizens of the United States. Stay focused on that, and don't give up on your kids in the fight for that. I think that's just so critical that parents stay involved.
Are there other candidates you're linking arms with as you enter into this election?
Yeah, absolutely. Two wonderful guys I got to meet. Bob Burlage is running also in a different seat, and then Kevin Clandrud, who is an incredible guy. Both guys are just smart. They're dedicated. They love education. And everyone in the Elmbrook School District gets to vote for all three of us. So you can vote for Sam, Bob, and Kevin, three guys with Christian values and a love for education.
Great. And what is the number one issue you want people watching this program here tonight want them to know about you, Sam?
The number one issue I want them to know about me is that I care. Like Dr. Joel said earlier, I was listening to him. I thought he's a hard worker. I'm someone that works very, very hard. I run a business, so I know how to make decisions. I know what it takes to get things done. I'm not afraid to ask tough questions. If you watch any of the board meetings, you'll see that I'm the person that will ask those tough questions. I have really good support too from people that are in the union, people that are outside the union, people on the right side, all across the board, because they see I'm not going to be one to be pushed around and bullied. I'm going to be the one to step up and protect and defend our students.
Are you optimistic toward the future?
I am really optimistic. I mean, I know where my life ends. I'm going to end with God in heaven, and I'm going to be joyful in that. There's some pain in the world today, right? I'm optimistic about that. I'm optimistic about my race. I feel like I've worked really hard. I feel like God will honor that, and whatever His desired outcome will be, I'm sure will play out. But yeah, I'm optimistic.
Great. And for those watching tonight who would like to learn more about your race for school board seat, how can they obtain that?
Yeah, no, I've got a website, sam4elmbrook.com. It's right there as well. And you can email me at sam@sam4elmbrook.com. And I answer all questions. I'm always responding to emails in between workday, but those are two great ways to get a hold of me.
Great. Well, Sam, thank you for coming tonight and sharing more about your background and your desires here for the Elmbrook School District as voters consider their choices.
I appreciate the invite, and thank you to the community for tuning in to Jim here and his team.
Great. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
And friends, we're going to take another break in just a moment, and then we are going to focus on the community of Franklin here in just a moment here tonight on inFocus. Just a reminder that the election is next Tuesday, but polls the early voting is going on right now, and you certainly can cast your votes. Every community has different hours for the early voting, but we encourage you to be informed and to cast a prayerful vote. We'll be back in just a moment here on inFocus. Stay with us.
Wisconsin's spring election is Tuesday, April 7th, and early voting is now underway. The spring election includes municipal races which vary from city to city. There's just one statewide race on the ballot, a 10-year term to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The two candidates include former Planned Parenthood political director, now Judge Chris Taylor, who was first appointed to the Dane County Circuit Court by Governor Evers, then ran unopposed to the Court of Appeals. The other is Judge Maria Lazar, a member of the 2nd District Court of Appeals, was an Assistant Attorney General under former Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen, and while there defended voter ID and Act 10. To find out what's on your ballot, visit myvote.wi.gov and click on What's on My Ballot. That's myvote.wi.gov. On Election Day, polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Nonpartisan candidate information can be found at ivoterguide.com. VCY encourages you to be informed and vote prayerfully.
Well, you're watching a special edition of inFocus tonight here on Channel 30 as we remind you that Election Day is coming up on Tuesday, April 7th. Many critical issues, and depending upon where you live, it depends what's on your ballot. Some of you are voting on mayors, some on school board seats, some on circuit court judges, some are on voting on other issues or referendum that are unique to your community. There's one statewide race that's for for the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We'll be dealing more with that issue next Monday night on the inFocus and spot announcements on that as well that are airing over TV 30. So tonight, focused first on the Menominee Falls School Board, had a candidate with us, also had a candidate for the Elmbrook School Board with us, and now we're going to focus on the office of mayor for the city of Franklin. And with us tonight, Mayor John Nelson, who is the sitting mayor of Franklin, and good to have you with us tonight, Mayor.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Great, and you have served in office, and there are likely many people who know you and others who do not. So for those who do not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, both family-wise and professionally.
Sure. So I'm a lifelong resident of City of Franklin, and I've just about completed my first term as mayor, a 3-year term. Prior to that, I was alderman of the 6th District for 6 years, 2 terms, and I've served on boards and commissions for the past 15 prior to that. So I've been involved heavily in the City of Franklin, from the Fire and Police Commission, Parks Commissioner, things that really got me interested in local government. And that's kind of how I started in this role, living in Franklin my entire life, seeing where the city's come from as a basic farming community to where now is a top tier state community is really awesome. It's just phenomenal.
So you've been serving for 3 years in mayor. It's a 3-year term, and prior to that you mentioned alderman. As you look back through this last term as mayor and then as alderman, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment in the position?
Well, I would think there's a few things that we're really looking at if you're going to judge success. And in the 3 years been in here, we're looking at bringing in businesses, industrial, commercial, with family supporting jobs. About 2,000 of those are committed or actively working. About $415 million of economic growth. These are huge numbers that Franklin's experiencing, and that's on that residential, and that's not even including the residential pieces. We've got a lot of going on in our city, and we are very sought after. And that's not only is it a good feeling, it's great to be in the driver's seat of where your community is going to go and how you're going to maintain that top tier status and become and maintain that very desirable position.
There has been friction in Franklin between the schools and also that of the Common Council and the Plan Commission. And this is regarding just conditions tied to a referendum that had been held in the expansion of Franklin High. How do we bring unity on the issue?
Well, to clarify that, first of all, you've got that referendum was a $145 million referendum. And about 120 of it is going just to the high school. The other 25 is going to help the other schools upgrade and bring it together. So, which is in desperate need. Now, when you talk about what we can bring back together, as soon as I got in office, I attended the first school board meeting and said, look, we got to work together, because there was a lot of animosity, a lot of division, and we were doing very well. And I think where we're going to end up now is basically the access point to one road on the far east side of the property is where we're at a divide. You've got a lot of neighbors that live on it's South 47th Street, and that's a very nice, wonderful, upscale neighborhood, which has a lot of concerns for traffic if that roadway is open. And I think we're coming to some resolution to that, and I think we're going to be able to come to where the neighbors are happy and feel safe, and the school says, hey, look, we're still able to use the area, and I think that'll work just fine.
I've asked our previous guest here tonight who are running for school board about the current efforts underway to, a court challenge to repeal Act 10. What kind of impact would that have upon Franklin if Act 10 were removed?
Well, that could be a very big one. We've got about 240 employees for the city of Franklin, the city portion, not the schools. Mm-hmm. And what that would equate to, we already have our police and fire they're unionized. Mm-hmm. Okay, they don't call them unions, they call them associations, but they're unions. So they've got bargain contracts. I don't know if and how that would really affect us. It would have an effect on us, but we hopefully would be able to overcome that. Now, budgetarily, this last budget, it was a 2.8% increase for a budget that makes up only 24% of everybody's dollar that goes in. Mm-hmm. That would definitely go up. It's definitely a concern. I'm not exactly sure. I'd like to see how it would also break out, as any other community is going to have the same problems as we do.
Right.
But I think that we're in a great position because of our growth and our expansion that we would be able to absorb that.
We're talking with Mayor John Nelson this evening, Mayor of Franklin, and talking about his running for re-election in Franklin itself. You have been criticized by your opponent for introducing a 2026 budget with $1 million or $100 million a deficit, $1 million deficit. It's a big difference between that and $100 million. But respond to that.
Sure. So, he's wrong. Okay. So my opponent, he's ran for mayor 4 times unsuccessfully. He was recalled as an alderman. Okay. He's not getting the budget thing, because I've had this discussion with him. We started with about an $800,000 shortfall early fall. And what I did is I called all the department heads together and I said, look, you know your departments better than anybody. I'm looking for a 5% cut, a decrease from all of you. That'll balance this budget. Mm-hmm. And what we found, and they came together, gave them 1 week to do it. And in 1 week, we came back together. They proposed these certain cuts, certain holdouts with filling different areas of staffing, and we balanced the budget. So that balanced budget was brought forth in November. So there is no deficit. We have a balanced budget passed by the Common Council. I introduced it, and we're fine. I mean, we are do we have to take some holdouts? Yes, but we've actually been able to walk some things back, and I know once we get the Q1 numbers out, we're going to be in a much better spot that we can hopefully restore some of those challenges that we had and tough decisions we had to make. But we did deliver a balanced budget.
Everybody's vying for businesses to come into their community. What is your plan forward? How are you going to attract more business coming into Franklin?
Well, we attract them in a couple different ways. I'm going to give you one example of why they came to our community. So Yaskawa, it's basically electrical components, robotics company, came to Franklin, and June 13th we had a large announcement. The governor was there, and what that equates to is about 1,000 employees, $182 million project, and it's the largest project in the city's history since 1956. So that's a big deal. And the biggest reasons they liked Franklin's the workforce, proximity to the city of Milwaukee for college draws, but not in the city of Milwaukee. And our eastern border is 5 miles from the airport. Mm-hmm. They thought that our tax setup is fair. They really liked our community as a whole, the look of it, clean, safe, low crime rate, excellent services, police, fire, DPW. These were things that they brought. So when you got a company like that, now we're looking at Costco coming in. They picked us to open up on 27th and Drexel, and the goal is to have them open November 1st. So when these companies are coming here, they're telling me that this is what they like about it. They like that they can call their mayor up and get me on the phone. We can talk. Department heads, planning department, engineering department, who I've elevated every department head except one since I've been there in 3 years. So we've made those changes, and it's customer service and satisfaction, relentless follow-up, and these businesses really appreciate that.
We're talking again tonight with Mayor John Nelson, and Mayor, you know that there's been a controversy dealing with the Rock Sports Complex and noise complaints from neighbors. It seems that it settles down for a while, then it rises back up again, the complaints. What do you see as being a solution to this?
Well, what we did is the council approved a $78,000 deal with a third-party acoustic investigative firm, not just to do a sound study, but to investigate the reasons as to why sound travels, are we using frequencies, whatever. And that study is due back. Parts of it have already came here that can be implemented. But we're working with the owner, Mike Zimmerman. He has been fantastic to work with. Since I became mayor, we've made so many strides moving forward, from looking at the decibel systems online, changing the speakers, lowering decibels, having sound checks. We've got sound checks with the neighbors. That's never happened before. No other mayor has ever sat there, and this has been like a 10-year issue. So when I got in right away, working with the neighbors, having sound checks on the property lines to find out where we're at, and we found out that the base levels, that's the problem. It's not just a decibel issue, it's a bass issue and how far that goes. So I've learned a lot about where this goes, but we brought in a third party to come in and do this study, make recommendations. Mr. Zimmerman has been fantastic to work with, and I believe in the very short future we'll have everything resolved.
You're optimistic.
I'm extremely optimistic.
Very good. Comment on also on the quality of life issues in Franklin. I know that just a few months back there were human trafficking charges that were brought against a business there, a strip club in Franklin. I'm sure this was a concern to you.
Well, it was a concern to me, and I've said this on record, is I believe Franklin, we're beyond this now, that business, that type of business we don't need in Franklin. The business owners have been great. There's been no issues. This is a huge issue, and the owners are working with the investigative authorities to get some resolution. But I believe the owners they've won a great business, and this is one of those things that they're going to have to fix. But I've also had conversations with them. It's like, look, you've got a huge development across the street in Oak Creek, Buc-ee's coming in. Now's the time. If you were going to switch your venue, sell, redevelop, whatever you're going to do, now's the time. But I believe that type of business we're beyond now in Franklin.
Yeah, and Buc-ee's going to have a huge impact on the area.
It's going to be a monster, yeah. But we're looking forward to that too.
Great. Also, let's talk about public safety in Franklin itself. Is your law enforcement fully staffed? What do you see as being the major challenges as it relates to public safety?
Well, I think first of all, we have an excellent police department. And one of the, looking at some of the challenges, we made that commitment for body cameras. We were like the last ones to get body cams in Milwaukee County. And that's a big deal. We had to find the money to get that done because that is a huge deal. We just got a new canine a few days ago. We have a great outreach with the community. And we've got a real positive interaction with community. And that's what you need to really be, I mean, we got 36,800 people and about 48 sworn. And that's a lot of coverage. But we have a very low crime rate. We've got a phenomenal Chief Craig Learman, and and all the command staff down to the new hires, because I sat on the Fire and Police Commission for 8.5 years as a vice president before becoming elected. And the quality of officer coming through is also top tier. So we bring in that officer that is stressed on customer service and communication. And it pays dividends with the community because they see that as a welcoming entity in a city and not an occupying force.
I'd like you also to describe your future vision and direction for Franklin here in the years ahead, as opposed to maybe the direction that you see your opponent would take, Basil Ryan.
Well, my vision is a couple different fold. One is we want to bring in sustainable businesses. Ones that are family supporting jobs, 75,000 and north. And how do we do that? It's basically around manufacturing. So we've got a lot of opportunities like some of the ones I mentioned with the Escawa, and you've got Modine, you've got Crohn's, you've got some established ones and you've got some new ones coming in, and that's going to set the groundwork for decades to come. Crohn's has been there over 55 years. I mean, they've been there a long time. So that's one old one and one new type that employs a lot of people with family-sustaining jobs. Then you've got residential component where we want that high-end single-family development, but now we're also being brought in to the newly retired and getting my age that want the apartments with the amenities, but not the commitment to the house. So now we've got a nice apartments that are very high-end. Velo Village and part of the redevelopment that's going to go on 76 and Rawson called Poth's Development. So there's, I guess, in the vision is what's going to make the city stable and tax base, what's going to draw people here, and what's going to keep people here. And I think all those things I just mentioned will do that.
What are you hearing from people within Franklin, citizens, the door knocking, the comments that come to you? What do they see as being the major concerns of the community?
Well, they want to see that redevelopment on 76 in Rawson.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal. They want to see that done. They want retail, commercial. They're not excited about apartments, but I explained to them, every redevelopment, every new development has a residential component. So that's a reality. But how big it is where we can try to control that. Mm-hmm. Another thing that they want is they want to make sure that the police, fire, and DPW are fully staffed, because they want to have excellent first responders, and they also want to have, this is not on me, but an excellent school system, which I believe we're 12th in the state. So we offer that. So when we're looking at what we have to offer as a community and where that's going, we are absolutely have laid the groundwork for a successful community for decades.
Are there areas that you believe the community needs to step up and say, come alongside, help, get engaged with this? Your comments toward the community itself.
Well, I guess my comments towards the community is we are going to work very hard to bring in quality amenities. Mm-hmm. And please support those businesses. Because like with the redevelopment, you've got a group of neighbors that don't want the apartment part of it, but then across the street to the west, where all the commercial retail is, they're pounding on the door. They want these apartments because they're high end. I mean, the lowest rent is $1,880, the highest is $3,500. So these are people moving in here that have that level of economic ability to support these businesses. And I would also ask the people that I've known for decades and decades to support our local businesses, support Franklin business, and that's what's going to keep them here, and it's going to help them grow.
How would you describe the morale of both your municipal workers in Franklin and the morale of the community as a whole?
Well, I believe the workers, when I talk to them, and I'm like, I have an open door policy that's for citizens and employees, and that's to not jump chain of command if they work there, but to vent to me. Tell me what your concerns are. Tell me what you need. Tell me how we can get things done. And the department heads are put in place to sort that out, to make sure that there's no big divide. But the things I hear is, that we need more staff. We need more better equipment. But we've got a lot of things. We have those challenges like any other community. Where do you come up with $2 million for a fire truck?
Right.
How do you go about doing that? And we need 3 more firefighters. We need 3 more DPW. We need 4 more police officers. These all add up to, that's what I just threw out there is probably about $2 million a year. So to fill all those. So that's one of the challenges, but we've got such quality employees, we're being able to overcome a lot of that. And I believe it's the communication. Now, when I talk to the people in the city and what do they want or what are their problems, they complain about, they say about the taxes. Mm-hmm. And then I break down the 5 pieces of that pie and the different taxing entities, and that their city portion makes up 24% of that pie. Mm-hmm. And last year we delivered a balanced budget and had a 2.8% average increase.
Wow.
So that's a big plus.
I have about 30 seconds for this question. What one thing do you want our viewers to take from your interview tonight to remember, concerning you as they go to the polls on Tuesday?
Sure. I want the voters and the citizens to know that as a lifelong resident, I take this very, very seriously. I take the position of mayor extremely serious. And every day I look at ways to improve our city. I work a lot with our common council members. We are very transparent in our decision making. We look at what is it going to take to deliver a quality product, which is our city, what is going to maintain our green space, what is going to be connectivity with trails, what's going to keep our tax base level. Those are the things, and I can go on and on, but those are the things that I'm looking at top.
And you've got a website where our viewers can get more information.
Yes, johnnelsonformayor.com, that's right there.
johnnelsonformayor.com.
Yes, sir.
Great. John, thank you for coming tonight.
Well, I really appreciate it.
Nelson.
Awesome.
Great. Well, friends, thank you for watching the special edition of inFocus tonight. Again, early voting is now underway. Elections are Tuesday. Be informed. Cast a prayerful vote. Thanks for watching.